Nope, your eyes aren't deceiving you. This actually is not a scar, and we're checking it out in this episode of the Gear Guide. Nope, not lying. This isn't a scar. Really, it's not. Even though you're gonna go, Jonathan, you're crazy. This is a scar. No, it isn't. It's actually the ISSC Mk22. And this is made by Classic Army. It's part of their new skirmish line, which has replaced the sport line. But I do want to cover what the Mk22 is, because you guys are gonna be going, well, it sure as heck looks like a scar. And you'd be right. So ISSC is a company that does conversions, typically overseas in countries where standard rifles aren't that popular or could be very difficult to get a hold of, and countries where 22 caliber rimfire guns really reign supreme for sporting and hobby shooting. So they've done it for guns like the Scar, Glocks, and a bunch of others, and done the 22 conversion. So what that means for you is you have another option for that polymer rifle, that modern carbine out there, other than just the few that are on the market. So what you get from Classic Army's return is you would think, okay, well, this is their skirmish line. They're gonna be cutting a lot of corners, and you'd be totally wrong. What you do get externally is a nylon fiber body, which is a big difference from their original sport line, which were ABS plastic, which had mixed reviews on the internet. Well, with the nylon fiber, you're right up there with most or pretty much every premium offering AEG on the market. Also, not just all polymer, even though the upper and the lower are polymer, you do get some metal components, including the mag release, this entire lower black rail here, left, right, and bottom, barrel assembly, inner barrel, charging handle, and front and rear sights, and including the sling attachment here on the left side. So you do have quite a bit of metal, even though this is a polymer gun. So going by its official name is the SP102P, which is their model number. I do like the Mk22. You do have the short barrel, so it is kind of a CQB length, really designed for some indoor battles. And of course, like the Scar cousin of it, you get that folding stock that folds off to the side. Does have an adjustable cheek rest up and down, and 3-position adjustment here on the length with a button here on the left-hand side. On the rear stock, you get swivel sling attachments on both sides, so you can move it around. You do have that sling attachment here on this side, so you can run like a webbing sling or even clip it through. It's actually big enough to probably get one of those clip slings in there, like a Magpul MS3. And then of course you do have that entire polymer upper, which lends to a little bit lighter weight, but it's a little offset with this huge metal rail, which gives you tons of room to put all the accessories, lights, lasers, foregrip, satellite dishes, whatever the heck you want to put on there. And if you run out of space on the front, left, right, and bottom, you've got this entire monolithic upper to fill up as well. They did give you metal front and rear sights that do fold down with the press of a button out of the way. And then of course you have the charging handle, which doesn't lock to the back, but does expose to open your dial type hop up, which is nice. You can get those really nice fine tune adjustments. The same hop up you found on Classic Army's Pro line. So rounding at the front, you do get a sling attachment, one more here on the front, which will give you 3 different options, well 4 if you count both sides of the sling attachment on the stock, and 14mm counterclockwise threads, so you can put a suppressor on here if you guys want to ditch the old plastic orange tip. So your fire and mag controls are ambidextrous, so you have left and right here on the mag release, and of course your fire selector goes from safe and semi and full, and the safe is all the way up there. It's easy to push it back into safe, but to get out of safe, you kind of got to move your thumb off your fire controls. But typically when you're on the battlefield, you're going to be in semi or full anyway. So getting it out of safe isn't going to be a big deal, because once you hit the field, you're going to flip it over to semi or to full and get ready to rock and roll. Fire selector on both sides is polymer, but it's really snappy. It holds in there really tight. In fact, I've used a lot of metal fire selector guns, even metal on metal, and they've had a little wobble in play. This is polymer on a polymer body, and it is just crisp. Battery does live in this stock that I mentioned earlier, and of course when you do hinge it to the side, it does have the wires exposed. Now the reason the wires are exposed and they didn't go with that hinge wiring like the hinge where it hides in the hinge itself is because this, just like the Pro line, has the MOSFET included. In the box, you do get an 8.4 nickel metal hydride battery to run this sucker. It'll live there in that stock. You can run larger. You definitely put a 7.4 LiPo, even 11.1 LiPo on here. But because of the rate of fire, which we'll get to in a second, you're probably going to stick on that lower voltage. This thing is set up for CQB, but don't worry about it because it does have that MOSFET. Your trigger contacts and everything internal are set, and you still get that really nice silver strand wiring that's included in the Classic Army Pro line as well. Moving under the hood, you get 9mm bushings. You get that same Classic Army motor you're getting in the Pro line, so it's got a lot of oomph to it. And in this one, unlike the SR25 that had 21:1 ratio gears, you get 18:1 ratio gears. And for you guys who don't know that, the smaller the ratio, so as that first number starts dropping from 21 to 18, you start raising the rate of fire. You do trade a little torque off, but still at 18:1, you're gonna have plenty of oomph to be able to put pretty much anything in here to run at your local field. So it does have a quick change spring, so you can actually hop inside of here. 2 screws here inside the stock once you hinge to the side, pop it off, and you can access that quick change spring and adjust the FPS up and down. All right, CQB fans, you're gonna be happy with the chrono results because this thing is definitely set up to run some indoor blasting. We saw right around 330 to about 340 on the high end on the FPS, which means you're gonna be field legal pretty much anywhere in the world just about with this gun, with the exception of like Japan and a few other countries that have really low 1 joule ratings. So this is gonna be indoor friendly for all of your shooting. And again, like I said, with that same beefy motor and then the 18-1 gears, you're looking at about 1,000 rounds per minute, which roughly translates to about 16 rounds a second on the included battery. But if you want to pull that up and really get some zipping rate of fire and your field does allow full auto, I'd say go ahead, knock it out, throw that 11-1 in there and let it rip. So guys, if you're looking for a good CQB gun that's metal and nylon fiber polymer, does have that quick change spring, a freaking MOSFET, and a ton of other features, you would think you're gonna be paying a ton for this, but that's where you're wrong. It's actually only around $180 US for this little gun. So if you guys want something to take to the indoor battlefield because it's got that short barrel, or run it out long because it does have a 603 included type bore, check out the new offerings from the skirmish line from Classic Army, including the Mk22 that we're looking at right here. And you can pick these up anywhere Classic Army products are sold, or if you want to find a dealer near you, head over to airsoftology.com and check out the store locator to find one in your neck of the woods. So guys, what do you think? For 180 bucks, you get a reinforced mech box, you get like the 603 type bore, you get all the goodies under the hood, including a pretty ripping rate of fire, and field legal just about anywhere with a polymer body and a metal rail. Ugh, it's a lot of stuff. But I want to know what you guys think. Do you think this is like the new thing that's coming? Kind of bringing new licenses in the US to help keep that price down and Classic Army's return to greatness? I want to hear what you guys think in the comment section below. Well guys, that's it for this episode of the Gear Guide. I'll be back in the next one where I show you a clone of some PVS 14 night vision goggles that actually only work during the daytime.